It's fantasy football draft season. You're trying to find that league-breaking running back, that next Puka Nakua, that next Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, that upside play that's going to win that league, whether it's right now in your draft or a few weeks later to a few months later down the waiver wire. I got you one today. Brashard Smith, running back of the Chiefs. Big-time rookie doing some big-time things. We're going to talk about him. We're going to do a deep dive over his advanced metrics, his situation, everything else. The good, the bad, the ugly. See whether or not you want him on your team. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're doing these deep dives every day on as many players as possible. The trending players, guys that are flying under the radar, whatever we can find. On top of that, we're going to help you set your lineups, find players off the waiver wire, those gems, and we're going to help you win those drafts. Click that button. Stop missing out. Ric Flair's watching. You do not want to disappoint Ric Flair. But Brashard Smith is a big thing in fantasy football right now. He's going undrafted in a lot of leagues. He might be a guy you want to pick up. He's also a guy you want to pay attention to and maybe pick up off the waiver wire here in the next few weeks or so. And I'm going to give you the data, the strategy, to what to look for, because we've been through this before. But Brashard Smith has been looking good in training camp, OTA's mini camp, and he is a running back that has some goods to his game that's very good for fantasy football, that fits well for the Chiefs. But one thing people are excited about him, they're excited about Jerick McKinnon. And Jerick McKinnon's breakout in 2022 that allowed people to win their fantasy leagues was easily called just by watching a couple data sets that we're going to watch on Brashard Smith throughout the season. And you need to follow the channel because we're going to watch him throughout the season. And we're going to say, hey, it's about go time when these start trending up. But watching the snap counts in week 3, he was getting opportunities. He was running with the ones, getting work in the passing game. He ran 2 routes, got 2 targets on those routes. Didn't run a lot of snaps, but he's getting work with the ones. He's been getting work with the ones in training camp. He's getting worked in and out in a similar light to Jerick McKinnon because he's getting touches out of the backfield. He's getting moved around. He's getting work in the slot. This is a running back hybrid wide receiver that they're going to implement in this offense, but he was a heavy recruit as a wide receiver, 4-star prospect. Everybody wanted this kid. Among wide receivers in his class, he ranked 29th, 35th in the composite back in 2021. Florida was after him. He committed there, decommitted from there, went to Miami. Oregon was also after him. Also Alabama. Big schools, small schools, all over the country, from the east to the west. They wanted Brashard Smith to play wide receiver for them. And we go to Miami, and we had some big moments there, but we eventually transferred to SMU, and we also changed it up to running back, where we rushed for 1,300 yards, 14 touchdowns, 39 balls caught, 327 receiving yards, and 4 touchdowns through the air. He blew up at the Senior Bowl. He looked good. He looked crispy running routes out of the backfield. Just a big-time prospect. As a running back, averaged 3.34 yards after contact per attempt. So he can also make you miss. He can also run through you a little bit. Yards after the catch per reception, 8.1 in 2024. And then throughout his career there at Miami, he wasn't getting a ton of work, so it's really hard to note on all that. And plus, he was getting moved around the offensive lot. He was used as more of a weapon around the line of scrimmage. But still, this was a play maker. He was getting it done, whether it's on the ground or through the air, whether it was with Miami or SMU. He had big performances, and that's something to note because this is a jigsaw running back prospect that the Chiefs want to use, and they want to use him as a weapon. And Rashee Rice is probably going to get suspended, and that's going to open up some targets in the passing game. And he runs a 4.39 40-yard dash, speed to burn. He's electric. He can take carries out of the backfield. He can run routes like a wide receiver, run carries like a running back. He can do it all, and the Chiefs got him in the 7th round, and you're thinking, that's a late-round pick. Why do I care? This is probably the greatest running back class of our lifetime. We had 2 first-round running backs, ton of good talent in the 2nd round. Some of those second-rounders could have went into the 1st round in any other class. We had a 3rd-round running back. All of those running backs in the first 3 rounds of the draft would have been the first running back selected in last year's draft. because Jonathan Brooks only had one ACL going in the second round. After that, Trey Benson, Blake Corum, Bucky hit. Not many hitters last year, Tyron Tracy. And now you're looking at a rookie running back class where you're going to see running backs just go on and off like fireworks. Just like the 4th of July. These running backs this year, next year, be prepared for some of these late round picks to do some things. But Brashard Smith has been making waves in training camp early, catching balls out of backfield, making plays downfield. And you're looking at this running back depth charts. You're seeing older running backs. You're seeing injury histories. Pacheco had an injury last year. Kareem Hunt's older. Elijah Mitchell's always had injury histories. And Brashard Smith is going to be used in a different light compared to those other running backs on the roster because of how good he is in the passing game, the speed. He's going to be his own separate weapon for them. But the workload is what we're going to be watching throughout the year because Isaiah Pacheco's in line to come back. Big-time prospect in 2023. Very athletic, good between the tackles. Got hurt last year. We were waiting for him to come back, and now we're further removed from the injury. He also has 4.3 speed, and this is a running back that might revert back to what he was doing in 2022, 2023. Kareem Hunt is the crafty veteran. They brought him in. He looked good. He got some work. He did well last year. He was a surprise pickup throughout the season. A lot of you guys got him in fantasy football. We did a lot of videos on him. Carson Steele, that whole backfield, because it was up in the air. Things slowed down the back end of the season. He is an older running back prospect, so that's something to pay attention to. Elijah Mitchell has been hurt most of his career, but he is very explosive when he's healthy and getting touches. He can score, he can scoot, he can be a big thing in this offense. His best comparable statistically, athletically, and with his production metrics, ironically, is Jerick McKinnon, so that's kind of funny to look at. And you're looking at the ADP here for Brashard Smith. He's not getting drafted on underdog drafts, so on average, he's not getting drafted in your home league drafts, so you really shouldn't sweat him too hard unless you really want him in round 16, round 15. Somebody might pull up on him. A lot of people are looking at him hard. A lot of those are aficionados off Twitter. A lot of people trying to be the smartest guy in the room. But there's also some running backs here that could clog things up. There's wide receivers on here that's going to clog up the targets. He's competing with wide receivers and running backs for workload, and he may not be on the field all the time. But what you want to look out for this whole season and why you need to pay attention to him is Jerick McKinnon. Because before the breakout, we called it because he was trending in some workload metrics. Routes, ran, and snaps. When the routes ran per week and the route participation rate starts to increase, the charts below me, and it really went up against the Titans in week 8 because there were 68 pass attempts, 68 dropbacks in that week. He ran 50-some routes. He was getting a lot of run, and after that, he was running a lot of routes throughout the end of the season, and his route participation rate was increased. That's the rate of routes per drop back. And then on top of that, Jerick McKinnon was seeing more targets. His target share increased. It was increasing on the routine to double digits throughout the back end of the season. And his route participation rate at the end of the season upped to 35.1%, averaging 13.6 routes per game for the whole season. But the back end of the season, that increased significantly. As you saw, the targets increased from week 9 on forward. We called it out around like week 10-ish that, hey, there's a trend here. He broke out later in the season. But for Brashard Smith, we're going to watch the snaps. We're going to watch the routes. We're going to pull the reports every week. It'll be right here on the channel. When he starts to trend, it could be a 1-week, 2-week, 3-week trend. When that starts to happen, the videos will be flying. That's when you need to look at him. And we're going to try and get him a week early as our stash play to see if that happens. Because start of the season, it might be a slow burn. That's the thing about that. It might be a slow burn. You might be waiting on him. They only have so many pass attempts per game. You got Rashee Rice. You got Xavier Worthy. You got the other running backs. You got Kelsey. There's only so much of the pie he can eat right now until things happen. One thing we need to look at is Rashee Rice. If he goes down, 38 pass attempts per game last year, 65 plays per game ran last year. So there's only so much pie, but there will be more pie if Rashee Rice is suspended and there are more injuries in the passing offense among these wide receivers, and if something happens to these running backs. So honestly, he could be climbing up the board in workload if something happens to wide receivers or running backs. He's an interesting case study that we're going to watch throughout the season, and you're looking at him, and why you would want him or need him is because you want that Jerick McKinnon effect in this offense. They've been looking for that. He's been getting work with the ones. He's been getting opportunity, but it might be a slow burn. It might start off very slow. You got that rookie risk. He's a 7th rounder. He might be barely on the field the first few weeks of the season. He might have some random splash plays, allow him to score well in fantasy. He might be a huge risk week to week. He's also a lottery ticket dart throw. If you believe having a lottery ticket dart throw at the end of your bench, that one spot for a random rookie year 2 player, a ton of rookie running backs, a ton. You're going to be turning and burning and flipping through them this year. A ton of them. From Ollie Gordon, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt already started rising. He was one of those lottery tickets, and that's already starting to catch value-wise. We'll see fantasy scoring-wise, but this could be the next one because a couple injuries to the receivers or running backs, he's going to start seeing more workload. He could start seeing more workload nonetheless. Maybe they need more in the passing game. Maybe there are more shootouts. That could happen. But the big thing I want to stress out, we're going to come back with videos. We're going to be looking at the routes every week of all the running backs, wide receivers, on top of the targets, on top of the snaps, so you know who to pick up. And this is a guy that you're probably going to be picking up somewhere down the line. He might be working out for you, he might not, but I bet you he's going to trend up somewhere down the line. We're going to be watching those numbers on him. You need to watch the numbers on him throughout the season nonetheless. You need to be paying attention to that. You don't have to pick him up. And the reason why is there's like 50 running backs that could be lottery tickets this year. Last year we had a couple. We only had a few. And a lot of them were getting drafted a lot higher. He's going undrafted in a lot of leagues. So he's going to be sitting there off waivers. You're going to actually look at the waiver wire as an extension of your bench. Watch those snaps. Watch those routes. And as they start to increase, as long as he doesn't go boom on you, off the waiver wire, just scoring and everybody has to fight for him. But if those numbers start trickling up, or if there's a game where he's starting to run like 20, 25 routes, and the next game he runs 20, 25 routes, we're picking him up. We're picking him up. That's a Jerick McKinnon indicator right there. And we're going to be picking him up, and we're going to hold. And we're going to hold longer, and then all of a sudden, the workload's going to come. That's what's going to happen. So we're going to pay attention to that. You can pick him up if you want as a stash. However, you have to look at the waiver wire. Start pegging out the guys off the waiver wire that you might be picking up here in the next few weeks. And watch for what you need to watch. So you need to know how those players play the game and how they win and their situation. Here is that Jerick McKinnon effect here with the Chiefs in that role where it's likely where he's going to be getting in this team. And he's going to be running routes. He's going to be running out of the slots, running routes out of the backfield, getting carries up the gut. They're going to use that speed. He's going to be a jigsaw piece weapon. And you're going to be watching that week to week for those trends. And it's all going to be right here. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. One, thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.